Well, unless you've battled drug addiction, it is impossible to understand the grip that ice has on our society now. And it's growing, despite horrific stories of ruined lives and families. We will never stop asking why. And Laura Turner's investigation is searingly honest and eye-opening.
So I had it for the first time there and probably had the best time of my life, if I was to be perfectly honest, unfortunately. And then I just kept chasing that high.
And I have a fear that one day she might not come home either. So, yeah, it's hard. It's very hard.
It's the drug that has a stranglehold on our society.
Rammed the vehicles, continuing to rev his engine.
High on ice and reaching speeds of 120 kilometres an hour.
Botched robbery of the war veteran because he pleaded guilty.
Dead at the hands of her ice-addicted boyfriend.
Primary school students as young as 11 have been found with ice pipes.
Lives are in turmoil.
Are you gonna drive? No. Oh!
It is so powerful. The crystallised form of methamphetamine is such a powerful drug. It gives the user a greater high. They often feel like Superman.
I was just working hard. I was using the ice to keep me going for the extra hours so I can make a better income.
It was quite a long addiction, like 7-8 years or something like that.
Ice just doesn't discriminate.
Drugs, depression, the lot, anything I did.
What drugs did you do?
Anything and everything to, I was out of control.
From our pop stars and football stars.
Unaware of the destruction and heartache that I was putting some really good people through.
To everyday Australians, there's the violent madness.
Get off! Drive the bus!
Way out of control. I get to the stage where I heard someone squealing.
The heartbreak.
Us families, we're breaking apart. It's breaking up my marriage. It's caused pressure. I've had a breakdown.
And the ice addicts functioning among us.
So I'd wake up, have a pipe, get in the car, have a coffee, go to work.
Tonight we take you inside the lounge rooms where a tiny glass pipe burns away. The drug inside it effectively frying the brains of those on the other end of the pipe.
There can be a point for some people, if they experience enough psychotic episodes, that their brain may not recover in the same way.
It just kept me up for hours, days on end.
This is the frightening world of an ice addict.
This is it.
Yep.
This is ice.
This is ice.
And it's confronting.
In my army.
In your arm, yeah. And it's always the same place.
Always the same spot, yep.
I'd inject it, and then you'd sell people the drug, they would rip you off, so you'd go and kidnap them and take them to pay the money back, so you could get on again.
I'd spend up to thousands a week on ice just to support my habit.
We go inside the insidious drug culture, the desperate parents trying to save their children, the doctors and the hardened addicts, and the man who was using ice every day at work.
And it became a weekly thing whenever I needed to perform at work or wanted to get away from my problems. And then soon progressed to daily. Yeah, I used to use it every day.
Mum and daughter, Elizabeth and Anthea Anagnostou, say they're just existing, and it's a living hell.
In that moment when you're using, you're not thinking. The decision's made. You're going to use. So you're not thinking bad about it in the moment. You're more upset later.
It's been, nobody understands my pain unless you're going through it. It's hard, it's been hard.
Anthea was 18 when she went to Schoolies Week in Rosebud, Victoria. It was there she made the decision that changed the course of her life.
To be honest, I didn't even go to the beach for the week that I was there. I didn't have an experience that you'd think I was having. Stayed in the back of this house. I had a pool house and we were just taking drugs. And we didn't leave. We were there, just awake.
She stayed awake on ice for 4 days.
And then I just kept chasing that high.
How much do you love me?
Heaps.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you have to stop doing what you're
Do
doing.
my head in, but
5 years later, Ice still owns her.
you know, you end up with nothing. I lost a lot of people that I love and care about.
Because of Ice?
Yeah, definitely.
She's 23 now, she doesn't work, and she still lives with her mum, still trying to shake the evil drug that she says has destroyed her life.
People give up on you, and I lost a person I really cared about. You know, you lose relationships, you lose a lot of things. It's not just, you know, and you can't really fix them. They're not fixable.
One person who hasn't given up on her is her mum.
I lost her a long time ago. Yeah, I grieve. I grieve my daughter every day. I lost her. And if the government had a heart, or just someone, just please, just do something.
Elizabeth's story mirrors that of so many Australian parents trying to save their children from the grips of drug addiction.
All my jewellery, you come home and you find everything missing. Money, 3 cars, to drug dealers. It doesn't end. It just does not end.
This is Mitchell, a young man living in Geelong, happy to let us into his world of ice use.
Gives me a good feeling. Like, you go lightheaded at first. That's what happened when I first had it. I went lightheaded, all numb everywhere. And then I had another taste the next week and I was fine.
And right in the next room is Mitchell's dad, Shane. He's preparing his own methamphetamine and he plans to inject it.
It's crushed, which looks small.
Shane is an addict. He agreed to talk to us because he wants people to understand how this drug can ruin your life.
This has got a hold of you.
Yeah,
That
pretty
needle
much,
there,
yeah. That needle there, yeah.
This
in my hand.
is what owns you.
This is what owns me. Sure does.
When you are preparing it and it's about to go in.
The feeling, I'm feeling now. I want it. Feels great. Absolutely great.
He's in a constant battle with himself.
Do you hate that?
Yeah, definitely. Every day I wake up, I just wish I didn't want to crave for it and hang out for it. And
Shane is upfront about the fact he has spent time in jail, admitting he can get violent, especially when he's on ice.
And how out of control are you?
way out of control. It's a stage where you probably just want to be locked up, I suppose.
He and Mitchell immediately have an urge to clean their house. This is life at the moment for them, although Mitchell insists he can get clean.
I've got control of it, no, you've got control of me. It's my money that's buying it, so I've got to make the choice. Do I want it or do I not want it?
The battle to beat ice addiction can be a reoccurring nightmare, and it's something that certainly isn't new. But a recent survey of wastewater, of all things, in Australia and Europe has provided some startling information, and that is the high rate at which we use ice in Australia puts us second only to Slovenia. Victoria Police Assistant Commissioner Rick Nugent.
Because we pay more here for ice than what they pay in other countries. So as a result, we are the country of choice to sell this drug.
Despite amphetamine use dropping across Australia, addicts are turning to the harder form of the drug, which is ice. Western Australia and South Australia are the nation's worst affected. 1% of Queenslanders are now hooked, up from 0.4% in 2010. In New South Wales, ice use has almost doubled to 0.4%, and 0.6% of Victorians are now using the drug. Over the years, the ice scourge has gotten worse. In 2010, around 12% of ice users were using the drug once a week, but in the next 6 years, that 12% jumped dramatically. Now, 1/3 of all users rely on ice weekly.
We work really closely with other law enforcement agencies in targeting those top-end suppliers and distributors of the drug. At a local level, we take out the mid-level dealers as well.
And police work is just part of the answer.
So you're in transition now, I guess you could say. You must be pretty proud of yourself.
I am proud of myself, but yeah, it's a good feeling to have got through rehab.
Someone who did get clean is a 26-year-old man we'll call Dane.
I'm starting to feel connected again, which is, it's a huge thing. Like, as a human, I felt that's the one thing that really took away from me.
Dane was running his own business when he got hooked on ice.
And were you using it while you were at work?
I really sort of battled to deal with my business partner. I battled with the stresses of making big decisions in business, the stress of managing money, and the first solution that came back was that I'm missing amphetamine.
What do you think the biggest change has been for you?
Dane is in treatment at Melbourne's Hayder Clinic. He's been an inpatient there for 3 months. Louise Duchens is a clinical psychologist there, and she says the key to recovery is retraining the brain to respond to normal neural stimuli.
After long-term ice use, people don't experience joy in the same way for some time. So people need long-term recovery just to be able to get back on track neurologically.
And for addicts, giving up ice usually means some failure, but only at first.
Do you think every time you might get a little bit closer? I feel like I'm getting closer every time, and whether, you know, that's just the feeling and that's all that's actually happening, I'm a big believer of just, you know, never give up.
With the psychological savagery of ice addiction comes social stigma too. And for all her wrongs, Anthea wants to, as she puts it, break the ice.
You know, I'm not proud of a lot of things I've done, but if I can be real and share it and get people to know that they're not alone, I guess, yeah, because it's important, you know.
And that will help.
Maybe we could all fight this together. You know?
If you or someone you care about is struggling with drug abuse, there is help. The details are on our website. Well, it's time for a change of pace now.